Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to the Retro Revisited vlog channel. It's been a while since I've posted anything on here, and as you can tell the setup is completely different. But yeah, I just wanted to do a video, something I've not done. I promised to do last year, but I am going to do it this year. It's my top 10 films of the last year. Only films that I've seen in the cinema, so it doesn't count if I saw them on TV later in the year. But I've seen a lot of films this year, over 50 I think in the cinema, so I had quite a lot to pick from. But yeah, these are just my personal top 10. I'm going to add in some other honourable mentions in certain categories at the end, and also talk a bit about the Retro Visited channel and what my future plans are. So look at the timestamps in the video description if you just want to go to the end, so that's fair enough, to be honest. But anyway, let's start with the list. My number 10 is Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson. This was a film, obviously, that came out very early in the year in the UK, but it left quite an impression on me. Others, some people will think it's very worthy, very art house-like, but I thought it was pretty engaging, especially with the main performances. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good piece of work. I didn't fall in love with it, hence why it's just number 10 and not number 1. But yeah, there were enough moments in it to make me that's stuck in my memory to make me think that this definitely deserves a spot in the list. Number 9, far more recent film, Sorry to Bother You, the directorial debut by Boots Riley, and it is quite simply put an anarchic comedy, dark comedy, almost a thriller. It's a pretty fun film, probably the most fun film in the top 10, to be honest with you, in terms of just the places it takes you. It's a short film, but it takes you on a great ride. I'm not going to ruin the film, because basically it involves the basic plot involves a telemarketer putting on a certain voice to win over clients, and he builds his way up in the company ladder, and certain things happen, and yeah, it's really, really good. Number 8, I, Tonya, another fairly early in the year release, based on the life of a very rebellious figure skater. It has great performances by Margot Robbie, and especially Alison Janney as her controlling, alcoholic fueled mother. Superb performance that I just can't get out of my head. Really well paced, really well told, with different perspectives, and yeah, it's just a really engaging biopic, and you can tell it's a real labour of love for Margot Robbie, who pretty much forced it to be made by her own hand, and you can tell with her performance. Yeah, it's a great biopic. Number 7, Love, Simon. I really enjoy coming of age films, and this is one of the better ones of recent years, I think, about a gay teenager at high school struggling with the social implications of coming out while he's at school, and trying to find the person who's been messaging him anonymously. Yeah, great performances from all, but yeah, it's just a really warm film. It's nothing like knocked me out about it, but it's just a really enjoyable coming of age film that's well written, well told. It's not sanctimonious at all, and yeah, if you love high school films and coming of age films, you've got to see that one. Number 6, A Quiet Place. Yeah, I think this was a superb film. The fact that I saw it in the cinema only increased it, and you can tell how loud a cinema is with this film, where there is basically no audio, because it's about a family trying to survive against creatures that hunt by sound. So the whole, not nearly all of it, but majority of the film is nearly silent, and so you can hear every rustle of a sweet wrapper, you can hear every scrunched popcorn eaten in the cinema, and fortunately I was in a screening of maybe 4 other people, so it wasn't too bad, but I imagine a full cinema it's a bit of a different experience. But yeah, I thought it was tense, gripping. John Krasinski, who's the main actor and the director, superb to put a film like that together. Really an experience behind the camera. Yeah, it was gripping, and probably the best horror film of the year. I didn't see Hereditary, so I can't say that for sure. In fact, I didn't see a lot of films. I didn't see the Suspiria remake either. So there's a couple of films that I missed in the horror genre, but they'd have to go some to beat A Quiet Place. Number 5, You Were Never Really Here. Some people just thought this was one of my friends said it was just a weak rip-off of Taxi Driver, but I don't see really what the problem is in ripping off Taxi Driver. It's a great film. I thought it was really packed a punch, literally and figuratively. Lynn Ramsey really knows how to direct scenes that make your gut twist. So yeah, it's about a story about a for-hire assassin saving a politician's daughter, and yeah, and just unravels from there. It's not a very long film, but it is. It's very well paced. Yeah, there are some scenes that I can't forget and will never get out of my memory. I think Lynn Ramsey is very good at that, creating these indelible moments that just stick with you, and yeah, not pleasant moments either, a lot of them. So yeah, well worth seeing that one if you're into darker thrillers. Yeah, it had me gripped. Number 4 is Shoplifters, directed by Hirokazu Koreeda. Really apologies if I butchered that pronunciation, I did my best. Yeah, we're getting to the really good stuff now. Superbly directed, just with a really calm hand. It's a story about how a family living on the edge of Tokyo society, basically in poverty, taking this young girl who's seemingly been abandoned by her parents, and how they integrate her within their motley crew, as it were. They're all a random bunch. There's a couple that aren't married. It's parts of the film are left rather unclear, which is part of its brilliance, to be honest. Then there's a boy figure they've taken in, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's just a really moving depiction of family on the edges of society and struggling to make ends meet. It's one of those films that you've got to let wash over you. At first, I sometimes do struggle to get into the rhythm of the film, but once you do, it's just bliss, to be honest with you. And there was a point where they're all at the beach, where I was like, I don't really want this film to end. I kind of like being with these characters. I don't really want them to. I don't want to leave their company. But yeah, it's just one of those films where I think a lot of people will just go and just watch it and think there's nothing happened here, this is boring, but that's completely missing the point. It's just a film about how family can blossom in unlikely places, how people fight to just to survive, and it's just really, really moving. And talking about it now, you can tell it's a film I saw quite recently because it left a big impact on me, and it probably should be higher in this list, to be honest with you. But anyway, let's move on. Number 3 is Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, what is there to say about this film? It's a superb fantasy. I think I've used the word superb too often in this video, so I'll say majestic fantasy. About how love can blossom in unlikely places, namely a assistant at a huge scientific factory falls in love with aquatic fish creature that is considered dangerous by all the military personnel around it, but she finds, Sally Hawkins finds, that it does have a heart, and she falls in love with it, and it's basically about her protecting this creature against the evil military forces, mainly led by a superb scene-chewing Michael Shannon, who, he's born to play bad guy roles, and this one is not a definitive one, but is definitely one of his best ones. Yeah, his monologue about cheaper candies is worth the price of admission alone. But the film is a work of art. It's been assembled like a fine mahogany clockwork toy. It's just got great flights of fancy. It's been put together with so much care. It's not like a Grimm's fantasy tale, but it is like an epic fantasy, and just every element of it works and it clicks together so well. And just like, if you let the film take you under its spell, because it's a film, it's supposed to be make-believe, it's just sensational. So yeah, it was well worthy of all the Oscars it won. It swept me away. Number 2 is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which did get released in the UK this year, so it counts. And I saw it this year as well, so. But a real powerhouse of a film. Complete opposite pretty much to Shoplifters that I just talked about. This film just whacks you with big name actors, and they're not just in there getting a paycheck either. They're they're giving it all they've got. I was obviously Frances McDormand is great, as is Sam Rockwell, the always reliable Sam Rockwell, but I was mostly moved by Woody Harrelson's really pained performance. It's basically about a woman who puts up billboards about on the edge of her town about how the local sheriff has done nothing about investigating the death of her child, and yeah, the sheriff is played by Woody Harrelson in great pained form, and how he tries to make amends, and it's about, you know, Sam Rockwell plays a racist cop that's also on the sidelines. It's all kind of interwoven. Talking about it now, the plot is very loose, to be honest with you. There isn't really a strong strand apart. Well, Frances McDormand is the strand, but there's other strands all going on all around the periphery of the film. But it's all tied together by great performances and superb writing. And yeah, I imagine if you're into films, you've already seen this. But if you haven't, go see it, because it's great. It's hilarious as well. Yeah, the writing is superb, but my screening was also made memorable by somebody walking out an hour in going, what a load of bollocks, what did he say, live long and prosper, and he just walked out. But yeah, so I think the film was lost a bit on him, but yeah, it's superb, and if you have any interest in film at all, you have to see it. Okay, before I reveal my number one film, my favourite film of the last year, I'm going to go through some little categories. Most disappointing film, there were quite a few films that could have fitted in this category, like Holmes and Watson, which squandered a reasonably good premise with it's just awful. Not awful, but like poor performances, poor directing, just poor writing. The writing is what kills it, because you know, it could have, it had decent actors and it could have been good, but somehow it just flops and flails, and it wasn't pleasant to watch. Have a Nice Day, which was strangely anemic Chinese animation, which I heard was great, but just didn't do anything for me. It was just too slow and just didn't have enough life and vigour about it. But my most disappointing film, the film that I left thinking that should have been much better, was Thoroughbreds, which isn't a film that a lot of people would have seen, more of an art house film, but yeah, it's about two girls played by Olivia Cooke and Anna Taylor-Joy, basically planning to kill Anna Taylor-Joy's stepfather, who's an incredible Burke. But and it has this really, wit, and it's supposed to be like Heathers, but somehow it doesn't work at all. It didn't work for me anyway. It has this real sharp lemon like twist feeling to it, but it's just, there's nothing to it, because the two main characters are so dislikable. Like in Heathers, Winona Ryder and Christian Slater are annoying, and slightly annoying anyway, because they're killing people, but they're somehow likable. But this one, it just doesn't work. It didn't work for me at all. I didn't like them. So yeah, I found that really disappointing, and I think, although you're not supposed to like them completely, obviously, and they're very smart-witted teenage girls, I just didn't like them at all, and I think they're both good actresses, so I just think it didn't work for me. Most underrated, this was never going to get anywhere near my top 10, so I have to mention it here. Hellfest. I think it's been a good year for horror. I thought Halloween was alright, and I thought Overlord was pretty good. But Hellfest was, I think, really harshly treated by critics, as I think horror is generally. Yeah, I thought it was a really good throwback 80s style slasher that also took did a few twists. You're not going to get too much with a standard budget slasher film, but I thought it was pretty good. It's about a group of teenagers that get stuck in a amusement park, a horror themed amusement park, and I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. 90 minutes of good fun, and it was really harsh how it just disappeared out of cinemas. But yeah, I thought if you're into horror films, Hellfest was a good one. Biggest surprise, definitely Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking that looks like the trailer for a PS2 game, but the trailers just don't do it justice at all. It is superb. It's like a comic book come to life in film form, and just the animation of it, the action sequences are spectacular, and the trailers completely missold it, really, in my opinion. But yeah, that was it's really good. Yeah, see that if you're into comic books in any way, shape or form. And finally, for the outer categories, The Strangest Film, which I have to mention, An Evening with Beverly Luff Linn, which is, well, it's quite an experience, as the name would suggest. But yeah, see that if you're into surreal comedy, because it is unbelievable. It's too long, I thought, for because there's only so much of that bizarreness you can take. But yeah, see An Evening with Beverly Loughlin. You will never forget it. My number one is a film that maybe a few don't know about, but it's Columbus. A little known, basically got no release in the UK. I was lucky enough to see it very early on this year when it had like it wasn't even supposed to be out in the UK, but I saw it here, and then it came out in September to no cinemas in my area at all. So I was lucky to see it earlier in the year. But this film is it left me reeling for days, because the plot is about a girl who can't leave her mother because she's too dependent on her, and also how she meets this son of a very famous professor, played by the son is played by John Cho, and the daughter is played by Haley Lou Richardson. And he is basically in the shadow of his father. And he doesn't want to be there because he's looking after his father's estate while he's ill. It's this huge estate in this place called Columbus in Ohio, with all this amazing architecture, and it's those two characters meeting and basically trying to find something in each other to help them. But it's basically how they can't escape. Either she can't escape this, well, it's not a small place, but it can't escape this town that she's in, and he can't escape the shadow of his father's work. It's a slow film, and loads of people will just not get it at all. But I found something I could relate to in the film, and it's just all wrapped up with this amazing directing by Kogonada. Kogonada is one name, but it's just he has these huge just stationary long shots where the characters are talking, and you're almost like eavesdropping at them from way off, while this glorious architecture just looms in the background. It's an amazing place. I'd really love to go one day, but it's just one of those films that you get swept up in, you swim into, and it's just. I was swept away by it. I was like, I just sat in my seat, and I didn't really want it to end. But yeah, superb performances. Directing is what makes it, though. It's like it's pieced together so superbly, so expertly. I can't wait to see what he does next. And that was the film that left the biggest impact on me. So that's my number one film of the year. So yeah, that's all for this top 10. In terms of Retro Revisited, I am aiming to make a video in the next couple of months. It isn't a news one, so please do stand by. Be patient. Videos. I'm not going to say they're coming every month, because that's never going to happen. But I am, I'm trying to review some games over the course of the year. Hopefully I'll manage to get 2 or 3 done over the course of the year. I do enjoy making them. So yeah, please do stand by for those. I'll also be releasing probably a vlog on the Halloween video I did a long time ago, Super Hunchback, maybe, if there's any interest in it. If not, I'll just do it anyway. In the meantime, if you like to hear my voice for some reason, I have a vlog where I talk about my football team, AFC Bournemouth. There's a link to it in this video's description probably, so check that out. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter. I've got a link in this video description as well, and also obviously subscribe to the Retro Visited channel, which I assume you do. But yes, thanks so much for watching, and take care.